All right, what's going on, family? To catch you, Kazio. I'm so excited today because I have one of my good friends, David Okpamen. This guy is a man of character. When I talk about quality people trying to hang out with, this guy is definitely doing it. He started a couple of amazing projects this year, from getting to financial services and also making sure that he actually uses his own home to bring people and talk about financial education. It's amazing. So, everyone, please welcome David Okpamen. What's up, brother? How
What's
you
up,
doing,
man?
man?
Doing good, bro.
So
Doing
glad to
good.
have you here, man. You have a
Yes,
lot
sir.
of stuff going on
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
What do you have going on today?
So man, I had a leadership training at the
Okay.
office that started at 7. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like boot camp. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So boot camp for entrepreneurs,
Okay.
boot camp for those who want to be leaders. So that
Mhm.
was good. And then after that, just went home, got some food, and came straight here.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why you made a transition. You were doing nursing
Yep.
originally before. Okay. What was the impetus for the change from nursing into financial services and education?
Yeah. So thank you for asking me that question. Man, being parents, being Nigerian, obviously,
Yes. Yes.
born from that, right? The expectation, you already know, a lot of times the expectation when it comes to education and what you should be doing, sometimes is prized higher than, your faith. I come
Okay.
from a Christian background, right?
Right.
And sometimes it felt like education was higher than, your faith, right? So with that being said, I didn't exactly have 4 sisters. I didn't exactly have a choice on what I was going to do in college.
Okay.
Right.
So meaning that they were telling you either it was the four things: what, nurse, doctor, lawyer,
Exactly. Yeah.
whatever that is. And then, so for you getting in this point, I mean, did you have any pushback from your parents to go into the financial services industry?
No, not at all. Because there was a point in time. This was in 2018.
Okay.
Right. There was a point in time where I'd been in nursing. At that point, I'd been nursing for about 4.5 years.
Okay.
And when I left, I didn't tell my parents or anything like that. I didn't tell any of my family. I just left, and I was without work for about 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about those 5 months. I love talking about the dark times because
Yeah.
we all see. I mean, you're successful, man. You're doing amazing, and we're gonna talk about some of the things you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But talk about those 5 months.
Those 5 months was a very it was a semi-dark time for me.
Sure.
Right. Obviously, I said semi-dark because I think it was more so dark mentally.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Dark
that's
mentally,
real.
simply because I had my family to fall back on and moved them back into their house. I had a little bit of money saved.
Right.
So going back in that place, a lot of insecurity for me as a man came into play simply because I didn't have a job.
Right.
Right. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And I was living back in my parents' home, which is not a bad thing at all.
Right.
But it's just like, I was a man without a plan.
Got you. And we're about to get into this as well, but there have been pivotal moments inside every single, almost like a superhero. Where my pivotal moment was losing the ability to play music and finding out what the heck I was going to do at that point. A lot of prayer. That was a dark time mentally. But then you rediscover what your purpose is, what your plan is, and you just go from there. So what made you decide during that 5 months, okay, this is where we're going to pivot to?
Yeah. So I didn't go into financial services after that 5 months. There was an opportunity to work with my pastor.
Okay.
Right. So there was an opportunity.
The pastor that we're...
No, not the pastor that
we're going to.
No, it's a former church.
Okay.
The former church. So the pastor that we have now, Dio, we used to go to another church called DCH.
Yes, DCH.
Yes, DCH. So we went there. So there was an opportunity to be able to work there with him. I was like, man, I love serving people.
Right.
I love working in church. You know what I mean? Serving people and working in church is two very different things. Two different things.
Yeah.
I was bamboozled when I went in. When I went in, oh man, I went in and I was working literally 24/7. He's very A-type personality.
Right.
So he's like, hey, when I tell you to do this, do this. When I tell you to sit here, do this. When you do this, do this. You know what I mean? So you know me, man. Like, I'm an action person. You know what I mean? I'm a naturally take leadership. That kind of thing is so restraining.
And as Nigerian men,
yeah, you know,
we want. Let's talk about that too.
Yeah.
Because I think that we want to be the people to have control of our own destiny.
For sure.
Especially as Nigerian men, it's not. I don't think it's a pride thing. It's more like, hey, we want to know that we are putting our gifts and our talents out there. So I mean, just going back into that time, you had gifts and talents that you knew about.
Oh yeah.
Was there a point where, okay, I need to put this out there? What was the change?
So there would be a lot of times when I remember, I was his personal assistant. So personal assistant, executive assistant, to make it sound, sexier, I guess.
Right.
And I remember when I would have my breaks, the seated about 1,200 people, something like that, 1,000, 1,200 people. And I remember I would go on the stage. All the lights in the church were off. I'd go on the stage and I'd just start speaking. I'd start speaking, yeah.
This is okay. You heard it here first. Have you told this story before, my friend?
I've never told this story.
I'm telling you, this story is going to be something you hear about years from now. All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I just started speaking, and I was literally envisioning myself talking to thousands of people. Literally, and I would do that. I'd probably do that like once a week.
Wow.
I would do it like once a week, and I'd go, and I would honestly, like, I would just say what's coming off the top of my head. I don't even know what I was saying. I was just like, yeah. So
how old were you?
I was 20. Oh, man, this was like 2019.
Okay, got you.
So now I'm 29. So I was like 26.
26. Wow.
26, and even being on the, though nobody was there, I was still stumbling over my words. I was scared. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, man, this could be a reality one day. And I do that like once a week. I do that once a week. I acted like I had a microphone in my hand, and I'd hear my name, and then I'd come out, and then I would just share my story. And I'd even be getting emotional as I was up there, because I was like, man, this is a dream of mine. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm just gonna keep talking as if it's gonna happen. Yeah.
Wow, I just want to pause on that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I felt it as you were talking about it. Do you remember what we were talking about in those times where you were dreaming?
Yeah. So I'm glad that you used the word. Like, I was kind of like dream walking, right? Dream walking.
I've never heard of that term.
Yeah, I was like dream walking, and just standing there. And I remember things that I would say. Like I told you, I'd stumble over my words a lot of times. I even felt nervous as if people were actually there. I'd say things like, I would look into the crowd and I'd look into a person. I was imagining that person was me, and I was talking directly to him. Sometimes whenever, they say like you can give your life to Christ, and then a lot of people were just like, I felt like the preacher was talking directly to me.
Right.
I was recreating that moment as if I was talking directly to someone that was there. And I was just like, hey, I'm up here. I wasn't always this person, right? I was you. Talking to that person, I was like, I was you.
Right.
I was you. And I was scared. I was afraid. But I remembered what God told me at 17. I remember failing my classes. I think I was like passing like one class at the point. This was like 17. I was in high school. I told my dad my dream. I told my dad that I was going to create an ideal workspace. It's just funny. We're in a co-working space right now. We're in a place where different companies come together and they work. It's a very creative space. God told me that I was going to create like a Google kind of like headquarters workspace kind of thing. And
I'm excited to watch this video like 5 years from now.
Yeah, and I told my dad that, and I just remember my dad telling me, he's just like, sorry, I just remember my dad telling me like, how are you gonna create something like that whenever you can't even pass high school, and I think that was like the day that like, a little bit my dream was killed, and me walking on that stage while I was working for my pastor, I was talking to that 17-year-old guy that I was, and
you're talking to yourself.
Just talking to myself, you know what I mean? Because I know there's millions of people out there that are like me, Can
we talk about this, man? And I don't definitely want to cut you off, and I wish
I
had something, but this, I mean, this is probably what people need to see more than anything.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing about, I've had times like that, especially when it comes to like music, and when it comes to even the things that I'm creating right now, wanting to create and wanting to do.
Yeah.
We know that this stuff is hard.
Yeah.
It's like, because you have these dreams that you want to actualize, and you want to be useful to society, and it seems like nothing is going your way, and you can feel hopeless and desolate. And people like you are going to be the people that give people hope, and people like me are going to do the same thing.
Definitely.
And this is why we're doing this, man. It's to have these. And I'll kind of pause with this too. I think, that's the purpose of this channel, what we're trying to do. We want to create a community where we can inspire each other, and not just like rah-rah, motivational speeches, but like how you can actually make a difference in your life to make things happen. And we're both men of faith and everything, and also men of action, kind of actions you need to take. But one thing you've done, as far as talking, to people who are giving people hope, you've created a space, and you've used your own house You talk about financial education.
Mhm.
Where did that idea come from?
Mhm.
And what is your vision for it? What is it for? Where's it going?
Yeah, so every I think there's a scripture verse, and I'm paraphrasing. And by no means am I like a Bible preacher or anything like that. But
Fair.
yeah. So it talks about do not neglect, do not despise the days of humble beginnings.
Okay, for sure.
So everything starts, somewhere, right? A lot of times we see all these amazing people doing these amazing things, but it always started from somewhere, right?
Right.
So I was like, for me, the best place I can start is start with what I have,
Sure.
start with the home that I have. How can I? And this is something that I've envisioned whenever I have
Mhm.
my future family. I want to
Mhm.
be able to open my doors up to people,
Right.
feed them
Right.
spiritually, emotionally, and physically,
Right.
and then pour into them mentally
Mhm.
as well. So that's where the vision came from, and I felt like, what better time to be able to have like a housewarming,
Right.
invite people over,
Right.
and then feed them. Obviously, we had good food.
We
You
had
were
good
there and
food.
everything
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
great food.
It's great.
How many plates?
Yeah, it's like 17 people there. You know what I mean? And then we kind of just went in. I wanted to be a housewarming with a purpose, right?
Right,
Something
for
that
sure.
people don't forget, right? They're
Right.
just like, a lot of people they're gonna forget the food.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna forget probably
Mhm.
who was there,
Right.
but they're not gonna. They're gonna always remember how it made them feel and what was. They don't always remember what was said, but
Right.
they're gonna remember like, man, that's the first housewarming that I went to where we learned about finances and wealth.
And can I thank you for a second, man? Because through that housewarming, at first I met your girlfriend, which
Yeah.
is awesome, and also I met Derek, and also I met Manny,
Yep.
who are killing it in the fitness.
Oh yeah,
fitness,
yeah.
they're killing it.
These guys
right
are
now.
gorillas.
They're big guys,
literally,
man.
yeah.
But they were totally personable, totally just chill about it. They didn't let it get to their head.
Yeah.
They're doing really great things.
They are.
But the thing that I came at, like, how are you guys doing this? They were like, dude, I did this. They laid out some steps.
Yeah.
So the power behind getting this network together, people were trading ideas back and forth, like we're lifting each other up.
Yeah.
In our community, and one thing we talked about was financial education. What was it so important in that time to talk about financial education?
You and I talk a lot about finances, and one thing that we can say that comes out of people's mouth every single day, one way or the other, we can say that there's probably three things. It's probably going to be something about money,
Okay.
relationships,
Okay.
and politics.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Then we can add in religion and one way or the other,
sure.
right? So you and I were talking about, obviously dating literally like, before we had this thing, right? So in one way or the other, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about money in one way or the other, because everybody either has a lack of it, or or one way or the other, we're talking about how money is being spent, how it's being saved, whatever it may be. So that's was just like, I want to be able to get into a topic that can be a bit divisive at times. Everybody has so many different
how to get to wealth.
Right.
There's a million different ways.
Right. There's so many million. And it's so funny, right? There's a million different ways, but yet people still have a lot of confusion as to how to get there.
Right. Yeah.
But all the information's out there, but it's like, why is there still so much confusion? Right. And what I started realizing is that, and I'm sure you know this as well too, being wealthy first starts has to come from within. I'm not trying to talk spooky, hoogly googly stuff. You know what I mean? It first has to start here, right? Why is it that when people win the lottery, why is it within 2 years they all lose their money?
I would say a scarcity mindset. Right, versus an abundance mindset. But I know we're going the same way. Please continue.
Yeah. So like for me, I was just like, man, like if we can teach people not only the principles about wealth, right, and help them see, and I don't try, I was kind of like talking from a book, right? A great book that I recommend called The Wealthy Gardener.
Okay.
Right. And he teaches about the principles on wealth, right? There's principles and there's things that you can do that will get you a certain outcome. The only thing that isn't certain is the time frame that it's going to happen. Okay. All right. So that's the only thing. So that's what I wanted to just talk about and really just point to people.
Awesome, man. And we're coming up on time, so I want to make sure we get so much in.
Yeah.
One thing I loved about the group was whenever you get minds together that are focused towards one purpose and everyone's dropping ideas in the pot, that is a powerful epicenter of wealth being created just by the ideas and people saying, hey, I do real estate, I do this, and people saying how you can do it better, and people adding. I feel like wealth is attracted to those kind of conversations.
Definitely.
So abundance is attracted to those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
And brother, I just want to say thank you so much again. This has been such a pleasure to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for 2023.
Yeah,
man. It's gonna be insane. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
One thing
I don't want to interrupt. One thing that I want to say about you, you are passionate about seeing people win. That's one thing that I get from you. You're passionate about. It's sincere. It's genuine. It's genuine. You are passionate about educating as well too, which I feel like it exudes in your energy, and it just shows on how far you're willing to go for people. I just see the way that you serve. I see the way that you talk to people. Just the way that those things, you can just tell like it's something obviously you've worked on, but it's very genuine as well too, and it's not fake. So I just wanted to say thank you for being you. Thank you as well too for just being a catalyst. Obviously inviting me onto this.
Wow, bro.
It definitely means a lot. Obviously you saw something in me, and I'm just glad that you given me this opportunity to be on your show.
Thank you, man. I think what it is for both of us, we know what it means to have those moments where there is a lack of hope.
Yeah.
And then we've found hope.
Yeah.
And we know there are still people out there.
Oh yeah.
We're trying to bring them up as much as we can.
Definitely.
And also, also reaching out to people who are trying to bring us up as well. Like we're still in the process, right?
Yep.
But we know the people who are these people who are really struggling out there, man.
Yeah.
We just need an encouraging word, a piece of information that can change their whole life, and that's what we're here to do.
Right.
How can people find you? How can people connect with you and your mission?
Yeah, so still a lot of like background things being taken care of. But first, you can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
My Instagram handle is Osa Oak, so that's OSA_Oak. When you go on there, people know me for being in the men's fashion lifestyle kind of thing. Gotcha. So that's something that I'm really passionate about as well too. That's like part of my persona, right? I think that is very important. As far as your physical appearance and the way that you dress, that speaks volumes about who you are, right? So that's my Instagram handle. And that's the main way you can connect with me. I'm always on there. It's my main thing. And then we're working on back end things as far as like website and stuff like that when it comes to financial services. So that's going to be coming out within the next year. But yeah.
Can anyone connect with this mastermind idea?
Yeah, so that's something that I'm going to be working on. I want to do something on a monthly basis. We're actually going to be rolling it out. It's going to be at my office in the Missouri City area. So that's going to be something that we're going to be rolling out. So we have really exciting stuff that we're coming out with. We're here to change legacies, right? We're here to raise warriors. Right, and that's the number one thing. I mean, in this day and age now, where everything goes and everything is relative and things like that, we need especially men to be able to stand up and to be able to say like, this is what we believe in. Right. One thing that I've noticed about that I know about PBD, we were talking about Patrick Bet-David. We're talking about just different leaders. Leaders know that people are either going to love them or people are going to hate them.
Okay.
And they say like, you know what? At the end of the day, what's most important, it's not about whether I'm liked or not. Obviously, as human beings, we like to be liked. Right. But think about our greatest leader, who's Jesus, right? People absolutely loved him. There's people that absolutely hated him. That's just a fact of life, right? So I realized, like, for me, as far as growing warriors, not only in men, right? Because men, we should take up the lead, right? I think that it's very important to be able to stand for something. Stand for something and believe in something. If you don't stand for something, you're just going to go with the crowd. And I don't want to be someone that just goes with the crowd. You know what I mean? I'd rather say like, I stand for this. This is what I'm known for. And it's very clear.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 2023. We'll pray after this.
Yeah.
But again, Davis, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys soon.
Yes, sir.